Hi, I want to talk a bit about this instrument I received recently. It's a 4-voice cassette tape instrument, and it's designed to play tapes recorded with a 4-track cassette recorder. It's called the Noodle Rider, and it was created by Nudl. I don't know that I would call this a full review exactly. It's not an ad or sponsored content. This instrument was purchased for me as a gift. Neither myself nor the purchaser have any affiliation at all with Nudl. I just wanted to make this video about it because I haven't seen a lot of information out there about it yet, and I think it's pretty interesting. So I just want to go over it a little bit. I'm going to pause this tape here and eject it. All right. So this was just a standard stereo cassette, but there's some interesting things we can do here. So on the left, there's the Noodle Rider itself. This plays back cassettes at a set speed. That speed can be set either by manual pitch control, control voltage in, or over MIDI. There's a switch to toggle between control voltage mode and MIDI mode. There's a sustain mode. This only works when you're in MIDI mode, and it is used to control whether the tape playback is continuous, and once a note is sent, it just keeps running at the speed that note represents. Or in sustain mode, it will stop playback as soon as the note off signal is sent over MIDI. There's a trigger / gate out here for each note change, and then there's a series of outputs. These take audio directly from each track and output them to another module. So that covers the main unit, and then we have the sidecar here, which consists of 4 envelope generators and 4 VCAs, one for each track on the cassette. It has a gate in for each envelope, and each gate in has a switch to toggle between using the MIDI sequenced gates or the internal common gate. We have audio in, which can allow you to bring in audio to use these envelope generators and VCAs for other audio from within a different instrument. And then we have a series of knobs down here. There's a baseline level that you can set. You can set the shape of each envelope. And then there's a toggle between a attack decay and an attack release envelope. We have a mix here, and then a mix out that comes out at line level. And then these are the outs that are post the VCA and envelope generator. So that covers the sidecar. So what can that sound like? Well, let's switch over to just using the direct out from each track rather than post VCA. And I'm going to go ahead and mute each one of my tracks up here in my mixer. And I have this demo tape here that was sent along with the module by Nudl. I'm just going to put it in. And there we go. All right, and I'm just going to switch this to CV, and I'm going to play it back. Okay, so the tape's moving along here, just kind of at the middle speed. And I've got audio outputting to my mixer. So I'm going to unmute one track at a time. So here's track 1. Here's track 2. Here's track 3. And here's track 4. And then if I just bring them all up, that's what this tape sounds like, just played at a baseline speed. Alright, let me just mute this again. Alright, and I'm going to pause playback. So now let's see what this can be like controlled over MIDI. So I'm going to switch back over to the outputs that are post to the VCA and envelope generators here. I'm going to unmute my channels. And I'm going to load up a 16-step sequence. Okay, I'm going to switch over to MIDI. And I'm going to play that sequence. One of the interesting things to me about this is that I can swap out tapes using the exact same sequence and get a very different sound. So, for example, let me just eject this tape here. I have this tape that I ordered on Etsy from somebody called Lifted Loops. And this is a 12-second loop tape. And again, I just have the same exact sequence going, and I'm just going to play the tape again. Go ahead and eject that. And then lastly, here's a tape that I recorded. This was just generated with some various sound sources from my synthesizer. And again, same exact sequence. I'm just going to press play. So I think this has a lot of interesting potential, particularly for like drones and ambient music. A couple things to note about it that might not seem obvious at first. It does take up a lot of HP. I mean, I guess that part is fairly obvious, but it's 33 HP for the Noodle Rider itself and 20 HP for the sidecar. Noodlehead does have a custom case that they build for this, so you can use it as a standalone instrument, but in my case I just wanted to put it into my rack. It does not have a record function, so you will need something to record your cassettes or to purchase pre-recorded loops from someone. You can of course play normal stereo cassettes in it, but since all 4 tracks are playing in the same direction at the same time, 2 of your tracks are going to be reversed. It does not have an auto stop function, so if you're using it with non-loop tapes, you want to kind of be mindful to stop playback once it gets to the end of the tape so it doesn't strain the motors or break the tape. And when controlling it over MIDI, you are limited to 12 notes, with each of the 12 notes correlating to a playback speed. These don't have to represent an octave necessarily, and you can manually map each note to a specific playback speed. I started out recording everything tuned to E, which is what Noodlehead suggests in the manual. And I just set it for an octave range so I could, easily try to make it somewhat musical. But there's nothing preventing you from setting a note to represent a full stop, or maybe setting 12 speeds that are very close together for kind of a microtonal kind of feel. So to close things out, I think this is a pretty interesting piece of kit. It has a few limitations that just come along with it working with magnetic tape, but I think I'm going to make it the main voice of my synth for a while. I'm going to leave you just with a little bit of kind of random patching using the tape that I recorded. I'm going to play that same MIDI sequence.